Hello, everybody. Good morning. I hope you're all very well, wherever you find yourself in the world this morning. My name's Mark. Welcome to my channel if you're a first time viewer. So, I've had a question from a viewer on my previous video about minimalism, why I left minimalism, and why I'm considering returning to minimalism. So, I thought I'd respond to that question in the form of a video. So, let's get straight into it and let's find it out. I've got the question on my phone. So, the question comes from a new viewer, I believe. His name is The Millennial Musician. Hello, sir. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for joining my channel. His question is, really interesting video, buddy. Thank you very much. Fascinating to hear your journey with minimalism. Here's a genuine question. Do you think a minimalist is somebody with not many possessions? As in, can you have lots of things and still be a minimalist? Because you see value in all of your things. Or to be a minimalist, you have to have not many things slash objects in your house. Keep up the great work with the videos. It's a very, very interesting question. I think it's a question that many minimalists would argue back and forth about. This idea, can you have collections? Can you have things? Can you have possessions? I guess the base of minimalism is the idea that the fewer possessions you have, the better. And many minimalists would say if you've got lots of possessions, you simply can't be a minimalist. I agree and disagree with that point. So, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think that you certainly can have collections as a minimalist. If you look behind me, you can see my bookcase full of books. I'm recording this on top of a short bookcase, which is full of books. I've got a huge pile of books upstairs on my writing desk. You've probably seen my writing desk in previous videos. I need more bookcases. I actually need some new ones because this one's knackered. Anyway, I've got lots of books and I'm buying maybe 2 or 3 books a week. I read 2 books a week, so, you know. So I have lots of books, and I would say that I could still be a minimalist with lots of books because the books that I have give my life a great deal of value. Now, the thing is, if you had lots of different collections, and I suppose your home was very, very cluttered with stuff, I guess you can't really be a minimalist. Even if those collections give your life a great deal of value, and even if those possessions that you have, um, you value those possessions a great deal, because a minimalist would say the problem with possessions is that possessions own you, you don't own the possessions. I think it was somebody, I read a quote, somebody said, anything that you can't give up when it has no value possesses you. And there is some truth to that, certainly. I certainly found when I originally began going minimalist, getting rid of lots of stuff was very liberating and it was a wonderful feeling. And I certainly felt like I was getting rid of stuff that was owning me rather than me owning it. I also got rid of lots of books, which I regret, but I've explained that in the previous video, so I won't go into that detail again. But yeah, certainly, if you are a minimalist, you have to have a few number of possessions, a lot of people would say, but you certainly can have collections. My books mean everything to me. Most of them, I've read them more than once. I use them as reference also when I'm writing. So they're not just, the value of my books is not just to read, they're also as references to things I'm writing about. I'm currently writing something about Dostoevsky and the psychology in Dostoevsky novels, because I've completely fallen in love with Dostoevsky. He's just amazing. Absolutely extraordinary writer. But anyway, that's a tangent. You can have collections, but I guess there has to be some parameters. If you have a property, a house, a flat that's just absolutely crammed full of stuff, full of clutter, somebody might say this is full of clutter, but you could turn around and say, well, no, actually, these are my collections. I collect books, I collect records, I collect trinkets on the mantelpiece, I collect empty crisp packets, I collect, whatever it is. Anybody could perfectly argue that their clutter is actually a collection. So there has to be some parameters. You have to set some kind of parameters. If you're enjoying this video, I hope that today is the day that I have earned your subscription. Click on that subscribe button. I'd be very, very happy to have your subscription, and hopefully you'll enjoy all my future content. But as I said in my previous video, and if you haven't seen my previous video, I'll link to it in the description box below and the pin comment underneath. I think what you should do if you are embarking on a minimalist journey, you should invent your own parameters about what you think minimalism is. So my advice would be find out everything you can about minimalism. Read books, watch YouTube videos, read websites, make notes on what minimalism is, and then get yourself a notepad and a pen and actually just write down maybe 7 to 10 of your own rules, your own minimalist commandments. And I think an interesting thing about collections is if you do have a collection, ask yourself, is it a collection or is it something of value? And what I mean by that is, let's say there's a box set of records that you want. I bought a box set of all of the albums by the Doors, for instance, because I love the Doors. There's a box set of every single studio album made by the Doors. Now, there are two albums made by the Doors I don't particularly like, but I bought the box set because I wanted to have this nice, tidy, beautiful looking box with all these nice records that all kind of look the same, and you could look at them on the shelves and you'd look at the spines and they were all beautifully made. But I realized that that was a really stupid thing to do because there were two records in that collection that I don't like and I never wanted to play. So what I was doing was I was collecting that collector's piece just for the sake of having it, rather than just going out and buying the records that I wanted. And that would have saved me a lot of money. I ended up with a beautiful box on my shelves, but it had stuff in that box that I didn't want. So I realized that's me collecting something that I didn't particularly want some of the individual components within. So I think that's something. If you have a personality like me and you like collections, just ask yourself, is that thing that you're about to buy, do the things within that box, within that packaging, are they really things that I want, or am I just buying it so I can put it on the shelf and go, look at that, it looks great on my shelf? I'm much better at that now. I don't collect stuff like that so much. I buy what I want. Certainly, in answer to the question, you can have lots of stuff and still be a minimalist, I think. It just depends on, just make sure that those things you have are incredibly important and have a great deal of value. And if they have a great deal of value and if they make you happy, then go for it. And also, the other thing I'd say is, don't do what I did and try to label yourself a minimalist. If you've got things you love, don't get rid of them just so that you can turn around and say, well, I'm a minimalist. Look, I don't have much stuff. Because I did that and I regret it. It's a big regret now, you know? So don't be in a rush to give yourself a label. Don't let the idea of being a minimalist define you. You're not a minimalist. It's like me. I'm a vegan, but at the same time, I'm not a vegan because being a vegan is one single part of my life. It's a massive part of my life, and it controls a great deal of the things I do. Of course, it does. But I'm not a vegan in the sense of that's all that I am. In the same way that I'm a man, but that's not everything that I am. I'm made up of 1,000 different personality traits, and I'm made up of feelings and thoughts every day that make me a whole person. So don't be in too much of a hurry to say I'm minimalist, therefore I'm this, this, and this, because you're not all of those things. You're a million different things that make you the spectacular, wonderful, exciting person that you are. And minimalism, veganism, your politics, your whatever is just one part of you. I think that's really important to remember, because we live in a world right now where lots of people are doing this hideous, hideous thing called identity politics, where everybody is being judged on this tiny little thing. Identity politics is about judging you on your skin color, your sexuality, your gender, your politics, left and right. And it's a hideous, hideous ideology to follow. And Minimalism is like that. Don't just judge yourself a minimalist. Try not to put yourself in a box. Once you're in a box, you limit your access to everything outside of that box. And you don't want to do that, because then you become just this one-dimensional person. You become a label. And if there's anything that I've learnt about life at the age of 43, putting labels on yourself is not a good idea. Just be who you are. Try and find a way of being happy. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.